Outdoor Adventures.
Hey guys, it's Chuke here from Chuke's Outdoor Adventures. Well, it kind of makes me sad to do this video, but I called it, that bear expert called it, and it's springtime turning into summer in North America, and already we are on our second grizzly bear attack of the year, and it's just like a week after the first one. So we're back to a new grizzly bear attack on a human every weekend. It's a sad state of affairs, and I'm scared, folks. I hate to tell you, but it's just going to continue. If last year was any kind of a marker, both here in Alaska and in particularly Montana, Idaho, Wyoming, those states down there, Yellowstone, it's just, it just keeps happening. So I'm really sick of the narrative that the mainstream left media is putting out because it's dangerous and people are going to lose their lives because of it, and probably already have. So thankfully no one was hurt in this one, but thanks to Paul and some of the other guys who have gone onto my website, and I've got a link on there where you can contact me. So several people contacted me today because I was going to do a different video, and they said this just happened. So as this video goes out, this happened yesterday, Thursday, April 24th. And again, thanks to Paul. It's titled "Two Anglers Charged by Grizzly Bear in Southwest Montana." And of course, it's by the Montana NBC affiliate. So it's all related to, you know, that mainstream media that I keep talking about. But let's just jump into the article. So Lima, Montana. Two anglers, for those of you that don't know, angler is a technical term for fishermen, somebody who's fishing. Maybe they were fly fishing, maybe they had a spinning rod. Two anglers were reportedly charged by a grizzly bear Monday while fishing in the Red Rock Creek on the Red Rock Lakes National Wildlife Refuge. The bear charged through the bush, and one of the anglers shot at the bear in self-defense. Good for them. Now that terrifies me because here in Alaska we have these bushes that are called willows, and you know, in the summertime they get a lot of leaves and they're, you know, 7 feet tall, and that's where the bears like to sleep off of trails at a nice shady area to get out of the heat. And then when you go through their area, they get startled or they get angry. If it's a sow with cubs, they're extra angry, but they typically, you know, circle around downwind, and then they charge at you from the side, and they're going 35 miles an hour, cracking tree limbs, and you've got about a second or less to get your firearm out to save your life. Now, I am going to interview a couple guys have contacted me that have been involved in some of these big bear attacks, and I'm looking forward to interviewing them. I did interview one young guy down in Montana, and it was a pretty cool story. I'll throw the link up there. So it says neither angler was injured, although it was unknown if the bear was injured. So it's a good chance that the bear is wounded and or dead, because a lot of times they'll get shot, they won't die right away, they'll kind of go off in the bushes, and then a few hours to a day later they bleed to death. You know, sad story for everyone. So the following was sent out by Montana Fish, Wildlife, and Parks. Two anglers were reportedly charged by a grizzly bear Monday while they were fishing in Red Rock Creek and Red Rock Lakes National Wildlife Refuge. The bear charged through the thick brush, and one of the anglers shot at the bear in self-defense. Fortunately, the anglers were able to leave the area uninjured. It is unknown whether the bear was injured. Grizzly bear staff and game wardens with Montana Fish, Wildlife, and Parks searched the area Wednesday. No bears or carcasses were found. No further management action from FWP is planned. Well, that's kind of scary, because if it's a wounded bear, it's a mean bear and it'll attack again if somebody gets near it. Refuge staff with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service have issued a temporary closure of a section of Red Rock Creek for public safety. The closure includes the portion of the creek between Elk Lake Road and Upper Red Rock Lake. The closure will remain in effect through May 5th. Stream access east of the road remains open, and Elk Springs Creek has no closure in effect. Now, here we get into the narrative, and this is what just pisses me off. Be bear aware. Now, sometimes the state agencies push this. Usually, it's just the mainstream left media pushing this BS. Montana is bear country. Grizzly bear populations continue to become denser and more widespread in Montana, increasing the likelihood that residents and recreationists will encounter them in more places each year. Well, duh, yeah, it's happening every year more and more. It's already started. The summer hasn't even started, and it's happening. Avoiding conflicts with bears is easier than dealing with conflicts. Here are some precautions to help residents, recreationists, and people who work outdoors avoid negative bear encounters. Carry bear spray and be prepared to use it immediately. Nothing about a firearm. Nothing about a fire. Travel in groups, that's good. Stay away from animal carcasses, smart. Follow food storage orders and applicable management agent. Yeah, store your food, where they can't smell it. If you encounter a bear, never approach it. Leave the area when it's safe to do so. Keep garbage, bird feeders, pet food. So all of that is good, but it doesn't say a single lick of information about firearms. You see, people, I've been saying this for over a year. These people don't want you to be an armed populace. They don't want you to protect yourself out in the woods. They don't want you to protect your loved ones. They certainly don't want you to protect yourself in your home. And that's where this all comes from. You see, they can't stand firearms. They can't stand firearm owners, and they don't want an armed populace. They don't want us to be able to protect ourselves. Now, I am not anti-bear spray. I own bear spray. Chuck from Alaska Ballistics carries both. Sometimes I'll carry both. Typically, it's just a firearm, but Chuck always carries bear spray and like 4 firearms on his person. Now, my uncle, I always tell this story, he stopped a black bear that was like interested in him, walking straight at him on a trail 20 yards away. And my uncle shot this big cloud of bear spray out, the pepper spray. The bear smelled it, didn't like it, just took off running. That's different than a grizzly bear or a brown bear charging you at full speed. Now, we've got several documented instances from these news articles where the bear spray failed. An angry bear just blew right through a cloud of bear spray and ate the person. Yes, literally, there was a woman working at a mine, deployed bear spray, and a black bear, of all things, blew through it and just started feeding on her body after he killed her. Now, other times, and I've interviewed guys where they said the cloud, they had a little bit of wind, they blew out a cloud of bear spray. It didn't even go near the bear and blew back in their eyes and incapacitated them momentarily. So I just don't think it. Now, the best firearm for bear defense is going to be a 12-gauge shotgun or a big bore lever action 45-70 hunting rifle, 30 caliber, something like that. Now, the problem with that is when you're hiking and fishing, it's pretty heavy to carry. Usually, if I've got a big shotgun, I set it down on the bank and then I go to fishing because it makes you tired. And then the bear comes around, oh, you don't have it on you now. So we suggest chest holsters for a couple reasons. You can cross rivers, it's going to stay dry. It's also a little quicker to access when you're getting a full-on frontal charge. A lot of people are falling back. Instead of reaching down to the hip, they just pull it off their chest. The problem with that is sometimes your feet flip up, and we've got multiple cases of guys shooting their big toes off or a big hole through their foot. So you got to be very careful, maybe train with it. I suggest a few things. First of all, the best pistol is probably going to be a 44 Magnum or a big bore revolver. This is the Ruger Toklat 454 Casull. It's got more power than a 44 Magnum, and the recoil isn't that bad. 5-inch barrel, you're getting a lot of power. Even Chuck from Alaska Ballistics says this is probably the best bear defense revolver made. I would agree. Ruger just makes tough revolvers. Now, there's a lot of options. You could get Smith & Wesson, the 460 Magnum, the 500 Magnum. Even a 44 Magnum's good. The problem with these revolvers is I'm barely going to get 2 shots off on a split-second grizzly bear charge. They're a little slower, and the recoils can be heavy. Now, what we found has worked is a 10 millimeter. Now, I like the Striker Fire polymer ones, XDM, Glock 20, Glock 29, Glock 40, even those SIG X10s are really nice. That's kind of what I prefer, the triad of 10 millimeters. This is my Dan Wesson Razorback. It's a 1911 in 10 millimeter, and it does great. It hasn't failed on me yet, and doesn't have the capacity as those other ones, but I tend to be a little more accurate with this. So that's an option. The problem with this is it's way underpowered compared to that big bore revolver, but it can do the job, and you can get a lot of shots off a lot quicker. Now, a good in-between solution I have found is the 460 Roland. This is my FNX Tactical 45, but the 460 Roland shop has installed their 460 Roland barrel, brake, springs, mag springs, and we're getting 900 foot-pounds of energy in a semi-auto platform, you know, shooting 12 rounds as fast as you can. Recoil isn't bad, and it's on the low end of 44 Magnum. Not quite up there with a powerful 44 Magnum, but it's pretty good. Now, in this article, they didn't talk about what firearm was used, and they never seem to talk about what ammo, and that is very important. Ammo selection. My favorite happens to be Buffalo Bore, Underwood, now Double Tap. I found out that they've got some really hot loads. One of my favorites in 10 millimeter is the Extreme Penetrator. It's a solid copper bullet, and it just penetrates. It will go through bone and flesh, and it will do significant damage to a charging bear. I go back and forth, but I also really like hardcast. Now, my favorite hardcast happens to be Underwood or Buffalo Bore, 200 grain hardcast. Now, this is what we call the lipstick rounds because it's a red round, and they've put a coating on it so you could shoot it through Glock polygonal barrels without fouling it up too much, because that can be a problem if you do a lot of shooting. That people argue about that. But use hardcast, use solid copper bullets, load your own. These are some CQB bullets that Chuke loaded, and it's actually got a little bit denser hardcast than even some of these big brands, and he loaded it really hot. So that's what I have to say about that. Let me know what you guys think, but I'm getting really sick of the mainstream media talking about these bear attacks. The guy obviously saved their skin. It was a successful stop to the attack with a firearm, and yet in the article, what do they say? Carry bear spray. They don't mention firearms at all. If you look at ammoland.com, they did a comprehensive study. They have a database that has proved without a doubt that handguns have been successful in thwarting bear attacks over and over. It's been proven. Dean Weingarten has been studying this for years, and he put the study out on ammoland.com. Now, other people, some just soy boy university just farts, they put out their own study through Harvard or something saying, no, bear spray is the only way to go. Firearms, you're just going to hurt yourself. It was complete BS, and now the mainstream media keeps pushing this, and I'm sick of it, guys. So I'm going to keep doing these videos. The sad thing is I'm going to keep doing them all summer and fall because we have so many attacks, if last year was any marker. But thanks for tuning in. My website is down below. Please subscribe. Please become a patron if you can. Follow me on Instagram. And it's Chuke, your friend in the field.
My name is Chuke.